Hello and welcome to day 11 of my Crafter's Companion 2021 Advent Calendar series. Today we have a stamp and die set of this birdhouse and bird. And I did have to pull in a few things from my stash. So firstly, I briefly showed two stamp sets that I'm using, and I'll link to everything in the description box below if you're curious about any of these products. But basically, the reason why I chose them is because they have stamps that have this sort of almost like a watercolor effect or ink blot, or it's really just a splash of color, and that's what I was looking for as a way to color in these stamped images. And it's not something I've done before, and I'm sure I've probably seen it somewhere. I doubt I came up with this idea. But I really had this idea of a row of these birdhouses, and so I thought that this would be a really fast but fun way of coloring in all of these images. And I'm gonna color in the birds the same way in this sort of rainbow style of coloring. And with the one of the main reasons why I actually wanted to go this way is because the bird stamp it seems a little bit abstract, because if you look closely, the belly of the bird doesn't actually have an outline to it. It just has the texture of, the feather and stuff, but there isn't an outline. And then actually when you go to die cut the bird, the die will cut out the bird legs, but the bird legs aren't even drawn in. So I feel like that was one of the things that really kind of sent me down the road of a more abstract coloring style, and it was really fast too. So so that works out really well too, because I am a slow colorist. So when I can get solid stamps to color an image, I am really thankful for that. So the coordinating dies, as with the other coordinating dies in the advent calendar, it's a solid plate, which is nice because then it won't bend or warp as it goes through your die cutting machine. But that does make lining it up with your stamped image a little bit challenging, but that's why I always create this little jig. And so I just die cut it out from some scratch paper, and then I use the aperture that's been die cut to line my stamped image within there. And that way I can get the spacing even, because when the die cuts out these stamped images, it does leave a little bit of a white border. And what's cool about this method of, quote, coloring in your stamped image is that some of the color will go outside the lines, and you'll see that in the die cut. You won't get a pure, clean white I guess border around your stamped image, and I think that just makes it look all the more cool. And I saved the little circle, the little window opening of the birdhouse. Those little circles, I thought maybe I could use somehow, so I saved those. And I thought it might be fun to put these going across a mini slimline card. And so I'm gonna make my card base here. So I've just got some heavyweight cardstock. I'm gonna cut it to 6 by 3, and I think it'll be 3 1/4 folded, and I'm gonna stagger my houses across the front. And I wish I'd taken a picture, because I kind of like how I staggered it just then as a little trial run, but then when I actually go to put it down, glue it down onto my card base, something got lost in translation, and I didn't actually space it the same way that I had just now. And I like what I did just there better than how the card ended up. But it still looks pretty neat, and it's definitely a fun kind of look. And I think I'll be making this card again, possibly, or at least creating something similar, kind of like how this one turned out. See, even that spacing looks better than what I ended up with. But what I realized at this point is that my original intention was to use the matching colored bird with the birdhouse and have the birds perched on their coordinating colored house. But then when I actually started to put it onto the card, it looked really, really busy. And because the coloring is so abstract, by fitting in so many images in such a small space, it was really, really hard to make out what was what, because everything was just like splashes of color and then thin black outline. So what I decided to do was go ahead and quote color in another bird, but this time in purple, because that's not a color of the house. And you can see I'm still trying to see if I can make it work to fit the birds with the house. And I do that a couple more times just to not give up on the idea. But I went with the purple bird so that he can stand out a little bit, and that way no particular birdhouse gets extra attention or visual weight on the card. And then I'll put him in the middle house. And I think that's why things went a little bit astray when I went to space the houses, because I felt like I had to make adequate space for the bird. And as a result, things got shifted a little bit differently than how I did my little sort of dry run. But I still think the card ended up cute at the end of the day, and I definitely like the style of that sort of ink blot sort of coloring. So I really, really like that, and I'll probably use that technique again on another card. And for my sentiment, I did pull in this sentiment from a Tonic Studios die set, because I didn't have anything that achieved this look that I was looking for, because I wanted that black shadow. I wanted the sentiment to run fully across as an edgeable, and I don't have anything like that in the Crafter's Companion products that I own. And I was going to do a rainbow of Nuvo drops, but then I realized I don't have an orange Nuvo drop. So if anyone can recommend a good orange color Nuvo drop, let me know in the comments, because I clearly have a gap in my Nuvo drop collection and I'd like to fill that gap. So instead, because the bird is kind of special, I went with a purple vintage Nuvo drop instead. And so that's basically my card complete. Each day so far, I've been really just focusing primarily on the products behind that particular day's door. But I think when I get to day number 24, that video, I might try to do something where I incorporate as many of the products as possible. And maybe I'll do a flip style video or a 10 cards, 1 kit kind of video. We'll see. But I think I want to do something that's a culmination of the entire advent calendar. So I hope that you will join me tomorrow to see what's behind day number 12 and what I end up making with it. Thank you so much, and until my next video, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye!